You've got to tell us why the 25th Amendment matters. If it matters, do you think anything's going to happen on that front as well? Because I'm hearing a lot of reports.
I think it's unlikely. The 25th Amendment gives is an opportunity to remove the president from office if it's determined that he's unfit to serve in office. It requires that the majority of the cabinet and the vice president support this action. I don't think it's going to happen because there's just too few days remaining, and I also think that there's a sense of risk and concern that cabinet officials have with respect to taking this action. There's, of course, a political risk to their future careers of trying to oust the current leader of their party, but there might be even a sense of concern about their personal safety with pursuing this action. What will his followers do? How might they threaten their safety and their lives going forward? So I anticipate that although there might be a lot of chatter today about the 25th Amendment, I don't anticipate much action between now and Inauguration Day on January 20th.
Professor, let me take a slightly different tack here, because there are those who make the case that there are legitimate concerns among a large percentage of the population about the American democracy and about how they're being served by that democracy, and how there are special interests and there is a slim group of very wealthy people who seem to be benefiting from the system. Does America need to spend some time early on in Biden's first few years having another look at how the system is operating and why there are people who feel so unhappy that they think the only way that they'll get redress is to storm the Capitol building?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I think that the concern is that we're going to focus too much energy on these mobs and insurrectionists coming to the Capitol, and the assumption is that what they're doing is completely out of line, which it is, and that's not supported by any facts, which it's not. But there's an underlying factor here that you raise in your question. And what this points to is this huge degree of alienation felt by certain members of the public with respect to our democracy due to the political inequality that maps on to economic inequality that leads to some groups and some individuals having much more power and influence and ability to get what they want from government than others. And those that are left out feeling that they have no recourse but to engage in these types of civil disobedience, right? These different forms of violence. And to the extent that we have a group of Americans who feel that their only outlet to having any influence over what's going on is through violent acts, we're in trouble as a democracy. So I do hope that President Biden and the Democrats who will control Congress will take seriously some of the initiatives that they proposed when they were in the minority, at least in the Senate, in which they were trying to promote these pro-democracy initiatives that I think would serve our democracy quite well, and hopefully will help to alleviate some of these senses of alienation that people feel with respect to their involvement and participation in our democracy.